Few Goldilock Bears podcast with Vincent Cloud.
John Nemitz.
And David Lauer.
And this is the show where we talk about loves and hates and indifferences, things we're on the fence about, ambivalences. And but before we do any of that, we start off with old topics, things we've talked about before, but we have some follow-ups. And we call them the
Follow-ups.
Deja Fuse. Oh, follow-ups or the barebacks, whatever. I don't know. It could all be varied. Deja Fuse. Dave's. Go ahead.
So my topic, I think John, you mentioned this a while ago about cover songs that are like cross genre.
Yeah, love
Um,
them.
yeah. So there's I'm going to see Rockfest next week, and there's two bands that are playing. There's Shine Down, and then also Jelly Roll, and both of them do a cover of Simple Man. Leonard Skinner, I think, was the
Yeah,
original who did Simple Man. Yeah, and I'm like, and they're all like kind of rock music, but like they're not. They're like cross genre to me because there's classic rock, which Skinner did. Shine Down is more of like an alternative rock, more modern alternative rock. And then Jelly Roll, it's hard to put him in a genre because he's kind of like country, kind of hip hop, kind of rock. I don't know, he's kind of his own thing. But they like, my thought was, I really hope both of them play Simple Man like back to back nights so I can watch both of them and like see which one I like better because I love both of their versions of the song Simple Man. It's such a great song to begin with. But I was just thinking about it, how I was excited to see those two artists sing that song in their own style because I know it's going to be great, like how they do it.
yeah,
I
that's
think
interesting. Um, that actually, I do remember when that Shinedown version came out. I was working on a dairy farm at the time, milking cows, and they always, for some reason, would play that new version like on the classic rock station, like in the mix, which I always thought was kind of interesting and weird.
Yeah, it's weird when they start playing the more modern stuff on the classic rock station, and you're like, no, you're like Green Day is not classic.
But it wasn't even that. Like it was like pretty new at the time, but they're just like, oh, this fits in with our vibe.
Hmm.
what about the Fast Car? It was like a country hit, but originally it's from the fucking 90s. What's her name? I don't know.
Tracy Chapman
Yeah, Tracy
or
Chapman. So yeah, all this country people are like, "Wee-hee, this is the best goddamn song we've ever heard," and it won like an award and stuff like that. And then they're like, "Oh, Tracy Chapman is now the first African American woman to win a country award." uh, but
uh,
I was gonna say, it sounds just like her song. Like there's not much of a variation between the two. I think. I don't know.
I agree, and that's why it sucks.
Yeah, right?
Because the entire song is about the perspective of a teenage girl, and then suddenly you have like a 35-year-old country dude singing the song as but like the perspective is wrong. Like I don't understand. Like it sounds fine if you're listening to the song but not really listening to the lyrics and understanding the lyrics because once you like know the lyrics and understand them you're like this makes no sense, this is like the wrong perspective.
Have you heard that song, John?
No, I don't think so. I don't know what you're talking about off the top of my head here.
Wow, not even the original?
Mm, not by name and title, no.
My gosh. All right, that's fine.
Like if you hear it like you'll recognize it for sure, you'll be like, oh, that song, yeah, I used to hear that on the radio all the time.
Yeah, I'll check it
um
out.
but
This also reminds me of the song In the Pines or Where Did You Sleep Last Night? Um Nirvana did it on their Unplugged album. I think it's the last song maybe. But that one's an interesting one where there's like just tons of different covers of it. Like it goes back to like pre-recorded music, basically. Like 100 years ago. And like there's this recording of like Leadbelly, the artist singing it like really early on. And it's just super eerie and creepy. And then there's like upbeat like bluegrass versions of it and um all kinds of different stuff. But one of my buddies I go camping with was obsessed with it and had brought along like 6 different versions, and we like listened to them all, and it was pretty crazy.
Holy shit. It's pretty sweet. You know what? Let's start the actual show. Enough with the past. Let's look into the present. Let's open our presents. I think Dave has to start off this episode.
He has to.
Has to.
Oh, big mistake. All right. I don't even know what my topics are. I
Oh,
need a
no.
refresher. Oh, okay. Okay. So when I came up with my ideas for this week, I just want to preface all of my topics. I came up with him in the morning, first thing I woke up, and I was kind of thinking about what I was planning on doing that day and what I had seen the night before. And some of my loves, like I said, I'm gonna say this first one. I love eating at breakfast diners. After I came up with this topic, because I'm like, I love eating at breakfast diners. It's like my favorite thing to do. Like anytime I'm out of town and I'm staying somewhere else, it's like, oh, let's go out for breakfast. Let's find a diner. It'll be great. I did that, and then I immediately just had like the worst breakfast diner experience,
Oh, no.
and it just brought me back to earth. And I'm like, oh, this sucks. So there was a breakfast diner on Yelp, and we drive there, and they're shut down. It's like abandoned. The building's abandoned, but there's like this bar right next to it, and it's like, well, they have food. It's like food and bar. It's like, okay, I guess. And it's like online, it shows that there's a breakfast menu. I'm like, all right, I guess we'll get breakfast here. We go in there, and they're like, sorry, we only serve breakfast on Sundays. Like Sundays. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. So like my theory in my head was they put the other breakfast diner like right next door out of business. And then once they put them out of business, they're just like, let's only serve breakfast on Sundays now. Screw it. Got rid of the competition.
Wow, a bunch of jerks.
Yeah. So then I went to a different breakfast diner down the road, a couple miles down the road, and we had to wait for like an hour to get our food. It was like the loudest restaurant I've ever been in. Like, I don't even understand like how it was so loud and why am I annoyed by it? And that's kind of a deja vu that we are talking about. Like, I don't know. It was just like I felt like I was in a room with like 400 people in it. But I'm like, there's like 50 people in here, but it was just incredibly loud. Um, but I don't know. I'm just going off on a tangent. I generally, other than this bad experience I had, I love breakfast diners. I love like going to Perkins or like Denny's or IHOP. Like I get it. Like if it's one like that's in your hometown and you've been there and you've had like bad experiences with the service and stuff, like I get not liking it. But anytime I go out of town, I always look forward to a good like breakfast diner, especially one that's like not a chain, just like a mom and pop breakfast diner, and just getting an omelet, getting pancakes, eggs. It's all breakfast food is amazing, and they get fresh breakfast food like first thing when you wake up. It's like one of my favorite things. But yeah.
Yeah. I think it's called Chickadees in Eau Claire. It's like it's right next door to like a fucking bar, and I would never go there to eat breakfast, man. But that fucking restaurant, yeah, it's like that cozy mom and pop vibe. People show up, they're never rude. They could be rude at the other ones. Dave, where do we go? Usually
Perkins.
Perkins, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. There could be
Get
drunk
yourself a
assholes.
T12.
Well, we were probably those drunk assholes being loud and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, on a few occasions.
Yeah, yeah. So without that though, yeah, it can be so enjoyable. Like you said, there's no wrong breakfast. There's no you can't. It's really hard to fuck up breakfast. It seems. Yeah. What do you say, Jarn?
Yeah, definitely have great memories growing up. Like with my dad, we'd go run errands on like a Saturday morning and then stop in some diner and get like pancakes and stuff. Really like that. And I still like breakfast food a lot, but it's hard to find vegan breakfast because everything has eggs in it, like pancakes, eggs, you know. But yeah, like waffles, like all that stuff typically has eggs in it unless they specifically make it a different way. But there's a few places in Minneapolis that do like plant-based versions of all that stuff, and it's amongst my favorite food to eat.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I was gonna try and think of like a French toast version they could make, but no, that's eggs.
Yeah, actually, I made French toast myself today. Self. And basically instead of like eggs and milk, you use like a chickpea flour and flaxseed as an egg replacer. And it gets like you just mix it with water and it kind of gummies up and gets the weird goopy egg-like thing. And you can use it for like baking, and it's really good for French toast and stuff too.
Be great. Yeah, I haven't been in one in a while, but yeah, they're so fucking they're spot on almost all the time. Is what's that one restaurant? It's like the Cracker Barrel. Is that a breakfast? Would that count? A breakfast thing?
I think so. I've never actually been to one.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I went there, but it was during dinner time, so we ordered dinner. So I don't remember looking up I think it might though, because they have that game with the pegs where you move one peg and then you jump over the one peg and you take that out and you keep going. CT on the challenge during a final had to do that exact same puzzle, but like giant like. It is like I play this game a lot at a breakfast restaurant that I like to go to. I think that might have been it, Cracker Barrel.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
My grandpa used to have that on like his on like the he had like a picnic table on his porch, and he would serve us breakfast. He would make like these little silver dollar pancakes, like the little miniature pancakes. And he had that game. So like me and my sisters would be waiting there, and we had that little triangle game where you put the little they were like golf ball tees, basically you stick in the holes. And I would just sit and do that. And I knew those were at diners too. And I got to practice that all the time at my grandpa's house. So I got really good at playing it. And then when I like went to a breakfast diner and they had it, I was like, all right, let's go. Like I got this in the bag. I was so good at it.
Did little Dave try and hustle people? Like, hey, I bet you I can't solve
Yeah.
this puzzle fast.
Hey Flo, get over here. Give me a free tall stack of pancakes.
In
Um,
college, we always used to. So I was in Wisconsin at the time, but you could go to the casino in Minnesota if you were only 18 instead of 21. So we'd always like drive an hour to Minnesota and go to the casino and come back, and we'd always stop at Perkins on the way. And like we'd like go like we would like leave to go to the casino at like 10 p.m. and get back at like 6 in the morning or something. And I remember this one time we were at Perkins, and it's like purely switched to breakfast time. It's not like the late night drunk people anymore. And like, I'm ordering like all of the tremendous 12, another guy, like whatever, like bacon and eggs, whatever. And then actually someone Vince, Schmitty orders the linguine Santa Fe. And the waitress is like, okay, whatever. And then we hear from the back kitchen, linguine Santa Fe, what the fuck?
Oh,
Like
that's
the cook is
awesome.
pissed that someone's ordering this shit at 6 in the morning.
oh my God. And for background, Schmitty is notoriously slow, a
Oh yeah.
slow eater. Oh my God. I can't even imagine that. Jesus Christ. All right. Segue challenge. What do you guys got? Eh?
uh had my fill of these pancakes and waffles and to roll around on the ground in pain.
I was gonna say, Dave, we could try it. Dine and dash.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
Instead
God.
of it's either dine and dash or check please.
Yeah. Um. Who wants to go? John, you want to go? Should I
I'll
go?
go. Um, I hate overused kind of like comedy tropes that, and this is usually more like there was something funny in a movie, and then people just in day-to-day life just overuse it to death. So like some ones I'm thinking of are um like just people around would always be like, run, Forrest, run, whenever anybody was running. And like I hated that. Um the the whole like Fight Club thing, like the first rule of whatever is you don't talk about whatever. And the second rule of whatever is you don't, yeah, but like they like I don't care. Like it's fine if they're like, hey, it's this is like Fight Club rules. We shouldn't talk about it. Like that's fine. But it just is so annoying when they have to like spell out the entire like phrase that takes like 2 minutes to say. Um, and then I think my number one I hate is mic drop. Like, um, it's just so overused, both by like people in real life and movies and shows, and everyone thinks it's so funny. And it's like, okay, like it was funny for like 10 minutes and like it just, yeah, kind of lost its charm.
Holy shit. Okay, well then in that case, mine could also go with real life as well. Because this was going to be my hate was pregnant women in movies. As soon as they show up in like a zombie scenario or anything, they're
That
gonna have
baby's coming out
yes, and she's
in
gonna
an
be like
elevator.
she's gonna be screaming and struggling, and then the baby's gonna get born, and that's gonna be screaming, And in real life, like I wanted kids at one time, but the older I get, I'm like, oh God, I run into my nieces and nephews, and I'm like, oh,
With your
God, they
car.
keep crying. Yeah, why cry? Oh man. So anyways, in movies, I hate it. As soon as a pregnant woman shows up, I'm like, fuck this. And then
I don't
I
know
was gonna
why I turned on What to Expect When You're Expecting.
walk right into that one. Oh, in shows, they later part of the seasons they add a younger character, and it almost always never fucking works. Dawn from Buffy and the Vampire Slayer, Connor from Angel, Scrappy Doo. Like, they just are so
Cousin
annoying.
Oliver from the Brady Bunch, famously.
Yeah,
Weird little blonde kid.
I was gonna say that, but I've never actually saw it, so I can't really
Uh,
speak on that.
Leo DiCaprio on Growing Pains.
Oh, he
Oh,
was actually
really?
good though.
Oh,
I felt like he added to it.
oh my gosh.
Yeah, what was
Uh,
he, like a street urchin or something?
Street Rat, which is a
He was
sunny
just an
joke.
orphan.
That's not mine. Oh, one of the things that is totally unrealistic when someone is like talking to someone else and they're like walking behind them while they're still speaking, and the person being spoken to is just staring forward. They're not being like, "What are you doing?" Like, you know what I mean? They never do that.
Yeah, Drew and I always laugh about like just like somebody says a line and then they just like walk away and like we're just like, hey, where are you going?
Dave, what about you? You hate you some tropes.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I was thinking about when you were talking about like the pregnant women on movies and stuff. Like the TV show Lost. In the first season, there's Claire who's pregnant. Like this first season's like 24 episodes, and she was pregnant for like 18 or 19 episodes straight, hour-long episodes. And she's like ready to pop on day one. And everyone is like, because she had like after the crash, she has like labor pains, and everyone's like, oh, she's gonna have the baby. But then like 20 episodes later, she finally has the kid, and then it's just a crying kid nonstop. And you're like, oh man, because you were hoping and waiting for her to have the kid, but then when she did, then it was just her like dealing with a crying kid, and you're like, this is just terrible. um,
Actually, isn't that like a joke on Family Guy? Isn't the one woman just like always pregnant? Um,
That's
Joe's
right.
wife, I think.
oh yeah. Yeah, it was kind of ironic because it was like he's in a wheelchair. How did he do that?
God.
I'm not jumping into that one.
Oh, there is one weird thing that happens. Like if there's like a monster and you try and shoot it, maybe you don't hit it. But if you see a monster and you try and shoot in another movie, you see it and you shoot it, it can't be shot or it's invincible. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's never like a monster that can take a shot avoiding the shots because I'm guessing it still hurts. I don't know. It's so weird. Yeah.
The thing that really annoys me with like how I pick out like bad actors in movies is there's a movie series called Divergent, with Shailene Woodley is like the lead actress. And the only reason I know her is because my wife watches it, but she was like famously dating Aaron Rodgers for like 6 months or something. So I'm watching this movie, like being a Packers fan, being like, all right, is this girl, is she a good enough actress for Aaron Rodgers? Like he's a superstar, like he's MVP, like she better be good at being an actress. And like I thought she was like a terrible actress. And as the series got on, she got like more experience acting and she got a lot better. But she did the one thing that always annoys me is when one character is like intensely looking at the other character and they keep switching what eye they're looking at, and they're just like as they're talking, they're just switching back and forth, and it's like they're trying to like act or make it meaningful without like making any facial expressions, and like I don't know, it just annoys the shit out of me when people do that.
Like the Mike Myers bit. Camera one, camera two, camera one, camera two.
Holy shit. Yeah, that whole like looking intensely from going from eye to eye. That's so funny. I was thinking about that. There was this commercial and it was very low stakes, but the woman who's being pitched this item, she's like looking at her with such intensity, going back and forth. I'm like, wrong choice. Like it works in a movie, but it doesn't justify this little commercial about this little product, you know? And I haven't seen that actress in anything else since then. Oh my gosh. Any other tropes that we gotta get rid of? If not, we gotta create a segue.
Hmm.
Well, I call it segue challenge. Gotta be quick.
I will say the one funny use of Run Forest Run was when someone said it or talked about it in the scene of Lord of the Rings where the
Ah,
hunts.
yes, that was good.
That was-
Oh man.
All right, let's
Yeah.
drop the mic on this topic.
God. All right. I'll go here. You know what? I hate friends who aren't compatible with other friends, if that makes any sense. It really sucks when you're like, hey, what's up, buddy? You should meet this other friend of mine from college or something. I never would have said that because I never went to college, but I'm like, hey, go meet this guy. And then it just does not work, you know? It's just they just don't like each other. And it seems like that. And then afterwards they're like, yeah, that guy didn't like him. Like, what? Like you were so fake with him, you know? Like that's even that kind of annoys me as well. So yeah, it's so odd when that happens. Some friends will like just randomly like bring you aside, like, notice how this person does that. I'm like, are you complaining about someone's behavior? Like they're just hanging out, and it's so weird. It's all of a sudden they're so catty, and I think it's jealousy. I've experienced that a couple of times. I've experienced that with there was a friend, so he didn't like my other friend, and then that and so, but then again I didn't get along with his friend. Not from my side. I just thought he was kind of annoying, but I tolerated him. But he did not like me. You know, he even once said like, "Yeah, I was giving you shit, and turns out you're not going away, and you're gonna keep on being in my friend's life. So I guess we could, bury the hatchet." But let me tell you, when he was giving me shit, literally trying to fist fight me, like just flipping out on random shit where I called him son, like ironically, where I'm like, yeah, put it on, son. And then he just stops, like, son, son. And he just started to do this whole fucking prison yard bullshit. And I'm unfazed because I'm just like, what is this? This is really, really dumb. And I could just, people have started shit with me and fought me before, and I just knew what he was doing. So I was unfazed. But he was a complete fucking jerk. And it's because he wanted this other friend all to himself. It was very fucking weird. And I experienced this one other time with a friend. Um, the mutual friends, we were hanging out, and I'll call this guy Randy. So me and Randy are the two friends. And then my other friend, we'll call him uh I don't know, something. I'm running out of fake
Dave.
names. Dave, we'll call him Dave.
Cody.
So Dave was giving Randy shit, like kind of like really talking down to him. And Randy is so dumb. This is not being mean, but he is dumb. And
Yeah, he's definitely not as smart as Dave.
he wasn't picking up on all the Dave shit. But as soon as I said something, he just really did not like me. He was like, what does that mean? And I was like, oh my God, like, you're going to get mad at me for saying something that wasn't even an insult while this guy was dogging you in front of everyone. That's how much that guy did not like me, Yeah, I remember I was living at the mutual friend's house and needed a place to crash. And the deal was a month, but I was like, oh shit, can I get one more week? And I remember in the morning, Randy shows up and they're having breakfast, and he's like, oh yeah, so Vince, he broke his promise, huh? Not surprised. And he just started ripping on me from the kitchen. I was like, Jesus Christ, this guy does not like me. So it sucks. I don't know. Do you guys have any experience with this?
Nothing that like really sticks with me, but I know it's happened. Like, just it's a weird dynamic when you're hanging out with like one person and a bunch of their other friends, and then you're either like the only one from the other friend group, or um maybe there's like two or three of you from the other friend group, and then that's also a different dynamic, because then like there's no incentive to merge groups at all. You just kind of like stick to yourselves, it seems like. um the when you're like the one off, then yeah, it's definitely harder to get in there and like gel with like the other people who already have like a history, I think. And um yeah, I don't know. I think for the most part, like, I've had decent luck bringing like a random work person to like a trivia event or something like that. Like, I kind of base it on like, do I actually think they'd get along good with the group or not, and don't try it otherwise. But um yeah, I don't know. It's no fun when it doesn't work out though.
Yeah, I had this is kind of similar, but it reminds me of Seinfeld, that when George Costanza was like didn't want his friend group to meet his girlfriend because, relationship George was going to meet friend George, and then worlds were going to collide. It was like a George divided against himself cannot stand. And it reminds me of that because I had like an ex-girlfriend like probably 15 years ago or 10 years ago. And like I wanted her to be friends with my friends, because like that's super important. If you're in a relationship with someone, you want them to be able to hang out with your friend group. And I thought that that was happening and it seemed to be going well. But then there was like volleyball night or something where people were playing volleyball.
Oh shit.
And I think I was at work. So then like my girlfriend was going to hang out with my group of friends and I wasn't going to be there. And I'm like, well, that's fine. She'll be friends. Well, no, like that later that night, she's like in tears. She's like, she wouldn't like barely talk to me. And she's like, she just said hi. And then she was hanging out with her friends. And then I was like, what? I'm like, you're an adult. Like, she's my friends are not expected to like baby you the whole time. Like, you have to like mingle yourself and talk. But it was just like the super weird uh interaction where it's like I shouldn't have to facilitate you getting along with other adults. Like, you're all adults. Like, this person that you couldn't get along with was like one of the nicest people I know, but she's not like overly outgoing. She's just kind of, I don't know, she's not outgoing, but that doesn't mean that she dislikes you because she's not like eagerly like trying to start conversations with her. But I don't know. I think it really sucks when you're like listening to like two people that you both like and then they're complaining about the other one and you're like, no, like, don't say that. They're good.
Yeah. That's happened quite a bit with uh someone's girlfriend. Like a friend of mine would get a girlfriend, and like a lot of those girlfriends just did not like me. They were just like, you don't have to hang out with Vince. It's just you and I. And that's, that can happen, like the whole divide and conquer thing that some people like to do. But sometimes it is just specifically me, and I just don't get it. Like I don't know. I try my best to be nice and stuff like that. But yeah, but without fail, those were terrible girlfriends. Kids, anyone who's just like, oh, I don't like that friend. You just hang out with me or my friends. That's a red flag. All right, you understand that? Yeah.
And liking
Vince,
Vince is a green flag.
that's true. Okay, so like I had an ex Vince that I only dated her for like a couple months, but she didn't like you. And the
Damn it.
second she didn't like you, I immediately knew that I'm like, this isn't gonna work out. Like me and her, I was like, I can't like her. If she doesn't like Vince, I'm like, Vince is like the nicest, like I don't even, it's like black licorice is like very like, oh, you're gonna love it or hate it or something, but I'm like, Vince, you're like chocolate ice cream. Like, everybody, like, if you don't like it, there's a red flag and there's something wrong. And so
Or
from
you're
like day
lactose
one,
intolerant.
oh yeah, yeah, exactly, it's oil and water, it just doesn't mix. I don't know.
Yeah. I have a friend who's very divisive. Like some people really like him and others just fucking can't stand him. Dave, you might know this person, but I'm not gonna try and narrow it down too much. But yeah, like I've found that out about him very early on. It was so bizarre. Like we had roommates and okay. But yeah, you'll get the idea. Like eventually they're like, "Oh, he was cool," or "Fuck him." It's very odd, very divisive man. Yeah.
I have it narrowed down to like four people. I have no idea.
Uh, all right. A segue challenge. I feel
I
like
think we should start seeing other topics.
you don't need that topic, just my topics.
Yeah.
Is it oh, it's Dave again?
Yeah. Um, I am indifferent to like recreational vehicles, kind of like four wheelers or jet skis or snowmobiles. Um, I I just don't really get the appeal on why people spend so much money on these items. Um, it, I have no interest in them. Like, I've done all of them, and like jet skiing, it's like, yeah, it's really cool for like 15 minutes, but you're just going like jumping off of waves and just giving yourself whiplash. And like, I don't, it's cool for a little bit, but like, do I really want to spend like seven to $15,000 on this item? And then you're only going to use like that or a snowmobile where like you can only use it like 4 or 5 months of the year, and the rest of the time it's just going to be in your garage and you're not going to use it. And the same thing goes with snowmobiles. Like, snowmobiles are fun, but I don't want to own one, and because you're not going to use it enough. It's super expensive. You got to pay for insurance on it. You got to pay the monthly payments on it.
Especially down
Uh,
there in Oklahoma.
yeah, it's totally pointless down here. But like for the cost of these things, you could buy yourself a motorcycle. And I don't motorcycle, but at least a motorcycle, you could use it a lot more and you could ride it a lot more. Like a four-wheeler, I get it if you live out in the country or on a farm and you're gonna use it for like some work and you're gonna like, oh, I'm gonna plow, I use it in the winter to plow my driveway, and then in the summer I use it to like haul stuff and like go back on my trails and like whatever if you're doing work with it. But like all of these items, I have no desire to get it because of the money. I know I'm never going to use it enough. And then it's also like an expensive thing where like if something breaks down, then it's like getting your car fixed. Like you're going to have to spend like $500 to $1,000 to try and get whatever it is fixed. Um, I don't know. There's just none of these things are for me, and I don't think I'll ever buy one.
I
Is a
agree.
yeah.
I think the only time they're amazing is like that age where you're old enough to ride a four-wheeler, but you're not old enough to drive a car yet. And then it's like fun as hell to like ride those things around the trail and stuff. But like as an adult, like no no desire to just like ride a four-wheeler on the trail or something.
Dave, so wait, do you don't think a motorcycle counts as a recreational vehicle?
I guess it kind of does. I don't know. But like those are like street legal and you can just
Oh,
drive them.
okay.
They're
Yeah,
like,
that's what I was gonna say. I feel like the fact that you can drive them on roads and highways and stuff makes them more of like a real vehicle.
Oh,
yeah.
shoot.
And
What?
I have no desire to get a motorcycle just because of the danger factor. It's just you see people who get into motorcycle wrecks. You can be going 30 miles an hour and you can just absolutely just smash your femur or just crush your elbow, and it's just in like six different pieces. And this motorcycles are just crazy dangerous.
Ah, shit. Because I was gonna say, growing up, I had a mini bike. It was like a short miniature motorcycle. Like, and I'm talking small. It was cute, man. And I drove that around the neighborhood. And yeah, does that count? I wonder if the size changes it.
I think a
I
mini
think it
bike
counts.
counts as a
Yeah,
recreational one for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sweet.
it's kind of like it's just like a dirt bike,
It wait, is it a dirt bike?
right?
Maybe a mini dirt bike. I don't know. I need to find a picture of
Was it
it. It
like the
was
one
like
from
a
Dumb and Dumber that he trades the van
smaller
for?
than that. It was smaller than that because my dad was like, "Hey, you're however old, and you could drive this thing. You're small enough that it's appropriate or whatever." Yeah, that's cool then. I want to say that's a recreational vehicle because yeah, I was thinking about it. I'm like, hey, I think we owned it. I think we grew up with one. Yeah.
I my neighbor had a dirt bike when I was a kid, and I just love the idea that he had a dirt bike and like he was the luckiest kid ever. But then like I went to his house and I got to ride around on it, and I was just like super underwhelmed, which is weird because I was like 13 or 14 and I should have just like loved it. But I was like, I had a four-wheeler at the time, but a dirt bike was like, yeah, I go faster, but the consequences were much greater if you screw up on a dirt bike. Because when you fall on that thing, you're either going to hit your elbow, your shoulder, or your knee on the ground, and it's going to hurt. So I remember like I just like trying to hit the brakes, but then hitting the brakes too hard and then flying forward. And yeah, dirt bikes were it's not for me. I don't know. And I didn't have all the proper safety gear, you know.
I don't know why, but I thought you were gonna say like I was so jealous of his dirt bike, and then I went to his house and I found out his dad beats him. I was like, "Fucking so great after all."
He bought him the dirt bike so he wouldn't go to the cops.
Every time there's a Bruce dirt bike.
Oh, you beat up Timmy again? Oh, get him a trampoline.
God. So at work, it was like a summer job, and my coworker and I were very young, and we were at this ranch, and we had four-wheelers. And this was the summer of Mission Impossible 2, where those two guys on motorcycles run into each other, jump midair, and grab onto each other and fight. We wanted to recreate that with
Of course.
four-wheelers. So we both got on either side and as fast as we could. Yet we slowed down just in time so that while it was rolling appropriately, we knew they were gonna like clunk together. We did jump. It was we are so lucky we did not get injured or that the four-wheelers got broke or anything like that because I was very immature. Yeah.
I
Anything
will say
else?
for the practical use when I worked on the dairy farm and we got to ride the gator around and do stuff with it, that was the best part of the job.
The gator? What's that?
It's like a six-wheel ATV type thing with it has like a little pickup dump bucket on the back of it and had like a plow on the front of it.
Does it go in the water?
No,
Why's it called a gator?
I don't know.
What the fuck?
I didn't
A
name it.
crocodile, I understand.
You didn't think that these were pertinent questions to ask?
No, I'm just like, I'm not milking cows at this second, so I'm happy. I wasn't gonna question it too much.
Anything anything else about recreations? I don't think I've ever been on a skidoo. Is that the jet ski? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think so. But you're saying they're overrated? You're just
I think so. Like, I don't know, they're fun, but I would need like there are so many things, like I would need a lot of money, and there's so many other things I would get before I would get one of those. Like I would want a pontoon, I would want like an awesome fishing boat or like a bass boat to or like even like a I mean, hell, I would buy like a yacht before I bought like I don't know. I was out on a big lake and I'm looking at everything and I'm like, that's probably the last thing I would want to buy. Like, I don't know, all the other types of watercrafts are much better and have much more usage than you can use. Nobody's on a jet ski like with a rod and reel, like casting a line.
That's what I always wonder. Like when I see people out on a jet ski, it's like, why don't you just buy a mega yacht?
They could have saved their money, man.
oh man, I could
But like
possibly
the
have a
noise factor is also a huge thing. Like
yeah.
the jet skis, they're so loud and they're so annoying to me. Because I go out to the lake, I want it to be peaceful and quiet. And they're just like gnats, just buzzing around in circles. Zzz.
Yeah, that's right. Is that the one where like the water thing is there's like a tail, a water tail?
Yeah.
Yeah, there
That's
can be.
cool looking. You got that going for it. You know what? I thought of a pretty good segue with a question. Is a Segway a recreational vehicle?
Um,
If you
yeah.
take it off road, yes.
Can it go off-road?
No.
Okay.
A
Those things
sidewalk
are
is
super
off road, technically,
true,
right?
but they're very finicky. One time for like a work team building event, we did a Segway tour of Minneapolis,
Whoa.
and there was, I don't know, like a dozen of us, I think, and we're just scooting around on these dorky ass Segways. And they're teaching us about Minnesota history and stuff. But at the end, they like take us to this parking lot, and they're like, "Yeah, you guys can just fuck around on the Segways." So we're like, "Okay." Um, so of course we're gonna race, right? And we all like line up, but like we're like super dumb and don't think about the fact that like we're going from like 12 wide to a space that's like 4 wide at the most. And like those things, like even when we weren't messing around, like if you just tap the tire of one with the tire of another one, both of them just don't know what to do and they like flip out and like so yeah, needless to say, I've got a coworker who still has like a scar on his elbow from like flying off of one of those things that day.
Holy crap. Jesus. Job made it look cool on Arrested Development.
That's true.
Michael. All right, next topic. Whomever.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
think
me.
I'll talk about my indifference to contact lenses. I've had poor vision and need for some sort of corrective lenses since like second grade. Um, and of course, back then I always had glasses and um, I definitely wore glasses all the way until high school. And I feel like in high school I experimented with contacts and then wore them off and on for several years. And I just, I don't know, I just feel like the technology isn't there yet for where I'd want it to be. Like at the end of the day, I'm always just glad to like get them out of my eyeballs and like let my eyes relax or whatever. Um, but on the other hand, like it's nice to have them sometimes. So like in the winter, if you're walking outside with like a mask on, or for the entire last 4 years, and you're wearing a mask, like um, it's nice to not have these lenses in front of your face getting fogged up. But on the other hand, I actually wonder like if having like physical barriers in front of my eyes helped protect me from like COVID droplets getting like into my face and then making me sick. Which I don't know if they've done the science on that one, but I'm sticking with that one. Um, but um I'm trying them out again now, and there are like new versions of them that do seem to be more breathable or something, and they're definitely better than I remember. But I'm not convinced yet if I'm gonna. I've been going through like these two trial boxes. I'm not sure if I'm gonna pull the trigger and buy some more of them.
All three of us are wearing contacts right now, correct? Is it audio, Dave?
Oh yeah, yeah. Yes, I am wearing contacts right now. I'm just gonna nod.
Well, John, did you try? I wasn't around with the glass contacts back in the day. Like
No,
that, that's
I've never had those.
yeah,
That
that
sounds
sounds
horrible.
awful. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't like them now? Like right now, do they feel like do you feel the presence? Are they itchy? Are they dry? Like what is it?
I don't know. It's just like I don't like they don't feel bad in my eyes or anything, but it's just like it just always feels like a relief to take them out. Like your eyes get fatigued is the best way I would say it. Like not necessarily dry even, but just like um it's like they're lifting weights all day.
Mm. Well, speaking of that, oh my God, I read somewhere where they're like it's possible that it's better to wear glasses than contacts because your eyes at least have to work like a good half an inch to get to that lens to
Hmm.
see. Where I'm like, oh, maybe I don't know. I don't know anatomy or anything like that, but it kind of sounds right. But okay, so I had to wear glasses starting in like the fifth grade or something, and I hated it. Like I didn't care that I could now see the chalkboard and my grades improved. You know what I mean? Like I feel like people looked at me differently. That's a whole thing. They're like, you look smart now, finally. But like I don't know, I just didn't like it. And my wide head, the frames or the whatever they're called, is pressing on my temples, so I didn't care for that. Um, so as soon as I could, like after graduation, when I got a little bit more money, I started to wear contacts. I'm like, I just don't like the glasses. I don't like them. I think people prefer not wearing glasses anyways, or prefer people that don't wear glasses. I don't know. But that's what I was going to go with. And it is expensive though. It's about 290 $90 a year, basically. I think I stretch out my contacts. I think they're like only 2 weeks, but I double up on that. So to get my money's worth. Um, and it seems okay. I think my eyesight is okay. It's still fine. I mean, without my contacts though, holy shit. It's so bad. It's
What
a
are your
scary
numbers?
place. Oh shit. 120? Is that a number?
I don't know. My prescription's like negative 4.5.
Shit. I was looking at the boxes today. I don't know where they are though. Damn it. Oh, but real quick about the glasses. I tried to look up this movie and it perfectly like it was like, oh shit, I kind of had this idea when I was a kid. This guy starts wearing glasses and everyone around him doesn't like it. They're just like, what's up with you? And he's like, what do you mean? It's like, I don't know, you got this attitude, stuff like that. And yeah, and people just like, there's like a robbery, and for some reason the cop was looking at him. He's like, I think that guy did it. And just the world is treating him very oddly. I cannot find that movie, but I really want to
Oh,
because I'm
that's
like,
funny.
that's how it kind of felt. Like I hated wearing glasses.
Yeah,
On
I
the
grew
plus
up.
side, so I enjoy having peripheral vision.
Right. Yeah.
That is true. I've grown up wearing glasses. I had like eye surgery when I was 2 years old. When I was born cross-eyed, where I have a strong eye and a lazy eye. So when I have my corrective lenses on, my eyes straighten out for the most part. Sometimes, like if I'm tired or maybe I'm intoxicated, my eyes just do
Do
their
whatever
own
they
thing
want to do.
because yeah, they just start like looking in crazy directions. Um, but yeah, like I remember like I was always wearing glasses and I'm not 4.5, I'm 4.25. Um,
You'll get there.
yeah. I used to be a 4.5, but then it was one of those weird eye doctor appointments. They're like, "Oh, your eyesight's improving," and I'm like, "Really? It can do that?" They're like, "Very slightly. It probably won't get any better than this." I'm like, "Oh shit."
Turn the corner, like you'll be
And like
20/20 in
so,
no time.
and like I've always worn like the really thick glasses where it like magnifies my eyeballs. So like my eyeballs were always really huge in my glasses as a kid. And I hated it because yeah, everybody treats you different when you got glasses on. Like everybody assumes that you're really smart, and then you get
But
really
I am really
self-conscious
smart.
about it. Well, if you're me, you're self-conscious about it because you know you're not smart. They're like, "Oh, I bet you read books all the time." And I'm like, "No, no, not me."
Like I just
But
lived
I
the nerdy, bad at sports stereotype or whatever. So like I guess glasses just fit me well.
yeah, I found out a couple years ago that I have scoliosis in my back, and I had no idea. And then, like looking back at my childhood, I was like, I was the kid with thick glasses who was cross-eyed and had scoliosis. I'm like, it all makes sense now. I'm like, I'm like, oh, I was screwed over from the beginning, man. But I got contacts when I was 10 years old, and I really wanted contacts because I had to get rid of those stupid glasses because I kept getting picked on. And I've loved contacts ever since. I don't have those issues like you have, John, where it's like you want to get them out of your eyes or it feels good to take them out. Um, I have, I don't know, like I've always worn them and I sleep in them. I'll take out my contacts like once a month.
Wow.
Um, and you're not supposed to do that, but I've told every eye doctor, I'm 100% honest with them. I'm like, I sleep with them every day. And they'll look at my eyes and I'll be like, did they look okay? Or my eyes, should I not be doing this? And they're like, well, it says you're not supposed to. And they're like looking at my eyes. They're like, there's no inflammation. The shape of your eye, the pressure of your eye, they're like, everything is perfectly normal. They're like, so they're like, we recommend you take them out a little more often than that. But there's nothing wrong with my eyes, so that's just if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Or just ride it till the wheels fall off, and then I'm just gonna be blind, and I'll be listening to audio podcasts the rest of my days.
Maybe possibly your own. But,
Yeah,
it's not a bad show.
Yeah, eventually he'll get desperate and Open up the catalog of his own material.
I've consumed all content on the internet. This is the only thing left.
I think I'm going to, like, I want to get glasses as much as I don't like them, but I looked up, I think it's Warby or
Warby Parker.
yeah, Warby Parker. And they have some nice variations, wide glasses for the wide head. I'm like, oh, awesome. And because, I'll probably save $290 in a year with that. And yeah, like I wouldn't mind saving up some more money. So it's just vanity. That's all it was. Well, the head thing was kind of annoying, but like I said, there's new products out now, and oh wait, my one ear's higher than the other, so that's always annoying too. They're slightly crooked whenever I wear them. Ah, damn
Yeah, I
it.
have that with my glasses, and maybe my ears are slightly off kilter or something because it's always I have square like there's like rectangle frames, and it's like it's always angled one way or the other, and like I'll mess with that nose piece, and I'll mess with the sides, and no matter what, it's always crooked on my face.
Yeah.
Maybe if you go into a shop, they'll know how to adjust them. But
Yeah, I had an appointment, and then they called me and they're like, yeah, we're gonna be out of office that week because they scheduled my appointment for July 3rd. And I'm like, that's the day before Independence Day. Like, that's a weird time to have an appointment. And then, yeah, they called me 2 weeks before and they're like, oh, we're going to have to push it back to August 20th.
oh, geez.
I'm like, okay. So I guess but my plan is to buy a new pair of glasses. And I'm like preparing to spend like hundreds of dollars because I'm like, the last pair of glasses I bought were probably like 7 years ago. So, like, I feel like I need a new pair.
I've also invested heavily in like not like expensive, but like online. I went and like bought prescription sunglasses. And I'll just like swap them out when it's sunny out. And then I put in these contacts and I'm like, oh wait, I don't have like sunglasses that aren't horrible now. So like I had to go buy some like cheap sunglasses to go with these when I was walking around outside in the sun. Um I hate like one thing I don't like about glasses if you just want to like lay on the couch or like lay in bed and watch TV or something, it's like digging in the side of your head. Um but then on the other hand, like that's the time of night when like I'm gonna have to be getting those contacts out anyway, unless I just go with the Dave model and sleep with them in.
Yeah. There's nothing worse than waking up in the morning, not having glasses on. And then like I use my phone as my alarm clock. So I have to shut off the alarm and I can do that kind of blind. But then I'll have three text messages or something. And I'm like trying to read them and I can't quite get it. And I'm like, where the hell are my glasses? And I'm like looking on my bedside table. I can't find my glass. Like
Like
I guess I took
Velma
them off.
from Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, like I took them off and I like slid them under my pillow or something. And I couldn't find my glasses. And I was just, yeah.
Over the years, the Woody Allen glasses have come into vogue. Um, I would maybe do that. Although there's some awesome fucking they're almost frameless or rimless. I mean, I like that. Actually, I owned a pair in high school, and I didn't mind that. I'd probably try and go for something like that because you couldn't really see, you couldn't really see the rims or anything. It was just glass in front of you, like those NBA players that wear that fucking mask, that glass mask or whatever, plastic. Yeah. Segway challenge.
I can almost see the next topic in the horizon if I squint.
Who's up? I've lost track.
I think you are,
Me?
son.
So- what? Oh my God. Oh my gosh, you guys, that was so annoying.
Oh, that was so good.
Uh
And
he
Dave
even
is
okay.
about to lose his audio if we care.
Oh right. Yeah. Okay. Well,
Don't jinx it. It was gonna pull through.
Let's go with my love. I love writing things down. Man, and I typed this out. Favorite.
Ironic.
Yeah. Yeah, I printed out my notes and then it ran out of ink, so now I have to squint. So it says writing things down. I I have notes, so many notebooks. I was gonna go grab that. I'll grab a pile and show you guys just the physical proof, but it's there, okay? I actually have I got rid of half of that over my lifetime, and I regret it. Because even though I think that I just write down the same shit over and over and over again, like a goddamn lunatic, like from seven or whatever, um, I do, there is variations. I know that because if I come up with a thing for like a script idea or something, I'll jot it down at whatever page is open. So I know it's not all organized. I know that. And so I have like script ideas, story ideas, bits of ideas of like, I wouldn't say it's poetry, but just things that I'm like, this means something to me. These words that I've conjured up reminds me to do this or that. I like to make lists. Um, I like to rearrange albums where I'm like, oh, that album, like the White Album, I'd like it better if it ran in this
Like resequence it.
order. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like I like to do that with stuff. Um, I have my workout charts that are up on the wall. I like to write things down and just post it on the wall. I took them down when my brother moved in and then James moved in. I was just like, don't look at my notes. Don't look at my life, my inner life.
Don't look at me.
Yeah. And okay, so when you write things down, you eventually love a pen. And this is my favorite pen. It's the Pilot G2. More specifically, in terms of the gauge, I don't know what you want to call it. It's the 07, the '07, and that's sort of in the middle. Yeah, it's exactly in the middle. And this is I always have a pen on me at all times. I have always have one on me, and then there's one here in my living room where I have a lot of my papers and stuff like that. And to me, it's I love jotting things down. I don't really draw anymore, but I write things down. And to me, it's like how a beaver has to gnaw on wood, otherwise its teeth gets too big. I like to think it's something like that. Yeah. What do you guys say about writing things down?
I'm definitely more productive as a human being when I write stuff down, and it helps me remember like what to do. But more often than not, I take notes, but I take mental notes, which is incredibly far less reliable. I just like in my head, I'm like, I'll just be like, and it's always like I can think like 5 or 6 days out or like a week out, and it's just like, okay, Friday, I have to do this, I have to do this, and I have to do this. And then like Thursday is this, Wednesday is this. And the only thing and I can like generally remember like stuff I have to do or get done or like take care of on those dates. Um but like when it comes to like if I need to go grocery shopping, like I have to have a list. I That's the one thing I always make a list for is the grocery store because I inevitably will always forget something that's like super necessary like bread or eggs or something. And yeah, I'm always going to screw that up. But I've gone through phases where I write a lot of stuff down and it's always like super beneficial. And I'm always like, man, I need to do this more. It's a lot like working out where I'm like, man, this is so awesome. I should be a responsible adult and do this all the time. But inevitably, I fall out of it and stop doing it.
I love taking notes, but I hate writing with like pencil or pen on paper. Like I would much rather type or even just like like thumb type stuff into my phone than like write on paper. And like I never use like notebooks and stuff. Like I just like accumulate all these like you get them from like work events or conferences and stuff, and I end up just like getting rid of them unused. Except for like this week, funny enough, I actually had to like crack open a physical notebook for the first time in a while. I've mentioned I've been doing this like family research stuff, and I'm in Madison, Wisconsin right now, and you can schedule an appointment at the records office, and like look at old like birth certificates and death records and all this stuff. But they don't let you like photograph or like scan or like do anything like that. Like all you can do is like go in and like take notes of what you see. It's like the weirdest thing. So like I actually had to like, even though I have like all these like beautiful notes like on my computer that say like everybody's birth date, everybody's marriage date, everybody's death date, I had to like like I was somebody from the 1920s, get out this notebook and start scrawling on it and like um be prepared to get in there that I have all this written down. And like I'm very like when I work on this stuff, I always like if it's a date or something, I'm gonna copy and paste it because it's so easy to just like see two numbers in the wrong order and you transpose it. So like even though it's like easy enough to type, I just like for the sake of I'm not messing it up doing that, and then just to like be scrawling this all in a notebook and then like trying to write it legibly enough that when I get there I can read it. And then I have like 2 hours to um like basically get as much as I can and like write down what I want to write. Um, but then like can't just snap a photo. I have to write all the things down and like do it nicely enough that I can read it later, especially because a lot of it is like unfamiliar names and stuff. So um yeah, definitely not a fan of actually writing stuff down, but I do love being organized and keeping notes in other ways.
The other thing I have to mention, I love spiral notebooks because if you get the ones where like you could tear the pages out, or you could do that with spirals, I guess, but like the book ones, I don't know. I need the page to be able to flip freely and stuff like that. Um, college ruled, I prefer that. Wide ruled is childish to me. Like, I don't know, because like if you say it varies in my notebooks. Sometimes it's cursive and sometimes it's my horrible handwriting. Although I think my cursive is pretty good looking. Um, so I try and keep up with that a little. That should be a topic. Cursive, could that be one? We wring out a
Yeah.
little something out of that. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna write that
save it.
down.
Save it. Save
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. So uh, I like that, and but again, I think that goes with my visual. My visual, I'm a visual learner, I'm a visual guy, so yes, when I could have all my random things there on the wall when I'm just chilling out, it's great for me. So I gotta start doing that again. Although, like I said, whenever someone's gonna come over, I'm like, I gotta tear all this shit down, because it looks weird. I don't know. Like if
You
you're
look
not
like the
prepared.
Charlie meme.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's what I was thinking about. I'm like, Vince has got like a giant poster board with just all these notes on it and these connecting dots.
Pepe Sylvia. Oh God. Anything else about writing shit down? No? Well, it's a segue challenge. Um, hmm.
Make a note of what we just accomplished, and let's check our notes from earlier for what's coming up next.
Back to Dave, I think.
I took a mental note, and my next topic is what I hate. Um, and I hate public restrooms. Public restrooms are the worst. And yeah, because sometimes on the walls of public restrooms, people like to take notes and they just write random curse words, weird symbols, offensive symbols. Like people love to carve out swastikas in the men's urinal or in the bathroom stall. Like every like CD like gas station always has like swear words, like just everything imaginable, and I don't understand, like, why would you do that in the bathroom? Makes no sense. And like, why are you spending so much time that you have time in the bathroom to like do that stuff? Like, if I go into a public restroom, I want to go in there and out of there as fast as possible. Um, they're so incredibly disgusting. I went on a trip to like Oklahoma City a couple weeks ago, and I had to stop at
Wait, how
like
far is that from your house, Dave?
I thought it was like 3.5 hours. It's really like 2 hours and 14 minutes.
Oh, write that down.
Okay.
Write that down.
And I had to go to 3 different public restrooms, and because my stomach was a little upset that day. I shit you not. 3 toilets I went to, they all had shit in them and none of them were flushed. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with people? It's not like they were plugged, just people just didn't flush. Like, what is wrong with people?
Sometimes you're proud and you gotta make sure the next guy sees it.
These were nothing to be proud of. Oh my god. It was just like, what the hell? I don't know. There's nothing good about public restrooms. Like half the time, there's no like water pressure to wash your hands. The soap dispenser doesn't work,
Oh
or
my
you're
God.
like
I hate
trying to,
automatic faucets where it's like,
yeah, off and
and you
on.
just can't get it like enough. Yeah.
Or like the paper towel dispenser. Like, come on. And you're like, I really don't want to push on the handle. Don't make me do it. And then you like push it with like the side of your wrist or something so your hands aren't touching it. And then yeah, and there's other people in there too. So like if you do have to use a stall and go on a toilet, you're just like, please no one walk through that door. Like, don't make me do this. As I was younger, like as I've gotten older, I really don't really have any shame anymore and just going number 2 in front of other people. When I was younger, I did. Now I don't care. But I do have the decency to flush, unlike some other crazy people. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like one thing I wanted to mention was like I know in like some European countries, I think they have like public restrooms are like you have to pay to use them. You have to like put in $1 or $2 or swipe a credit card. And I feel like if you had to pay for public restrooms, you'd probably like treat it a little nicer and keep it a little cleaner and it wouldn't be as dirty. I don't know. I have no experience with them, but I'm not totally opposed to that idea. If like there was like a VIP restroom that I could go to where like you pay extra, but there's a concierge guy there who will be like, "Oh, would you like a mint or like a warm washcloth or like a spritz of cologne?" I'd be like, "Thank you, sir." And then you give him a tip. That would be great.
Well, I've been to places where there's like attendants in the bathroom and it's just the most awkward thing. Like, okay, like I just like went and took a piss. Do I have to like tip somebody now because they handed me a towel? Like, I do not like that kind of stuff.
I've been in like 1 or 2, and I was incredibly underwhelmed. I was just like, man, in the movies, they're like super nice. This guy was just sitting there. He's just like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? I work in a bathroom.
It's gotta smell constantly for like whoever's working that, right? And could you imagine the stage fright when you feel like you have to take a shit? It'd be horrible. Oh my God. Especially if he's giving you notes. It's like, oh, that sounds like a real grunter over there. Oh, damn. Oh, there's the for a good time call, that sort of shit written down on the walls.
Yeah, here I sit brokenhearted. I love
Yeah.
when they exist, when you need them. Like, I feel like in downtown, in big cities, they go out of their way to make sure that nobody can go to the bathroom without being a customer somewhere. And I think that kind of sucks.
Yeah,
Have you
I've definitely
experienced
noticed that.
have you experienced foreign overseas public restrooms, John?
Yeah, definitely have come across a place where you have to throw like, I don't think it's ever been more than like €1, but you throw like 50 cents or something at it. And, but for the most part, wherever I've gone, they've been free with some exceptions. The one thing that is nice in Europe is that like you're going into like an actual room with a door that like you actually have privacy in the stall as opposed to over here where there's like a foot and a half underneath that you can see people's legs and like a gap an inch wide like by the door, so like you can just like look at people as you're like walking by the stalls and stuff, and it's like pretty weird where you don't have that problem in like other countries, it seems like.
That is so odd. Yeah. Yeah, why do we do that? Do we just not trust each other or something? And I've never ran into a glory hole, I'll have to say. A glory hole I didn't like. All right.
And then, of course, I mentioned on the bidet topic that I used to not mind like pooping other places, but now that I have a bidet at home, everything's like a downgrade compared to having that.
That's true. That's definitely true. This is not the same. I noticed the same thing like in bigger cities when I was in Chicago, like just walking the streets, it's like, man, I really got to go to the bathroom. And then you're like, oh, there's a pizza place. And I'm like, I don't know that they're gonna let me just go in there and go to the bathroom. And like what we figured out was like the best place was like if you see a hotel, because a hotel you can walk through the doors, and if you can go, usually the person at the front desk, they're always occupied with somebody, you can kind of walk right in and then just look for signs and you'll find a bathroom somewhere.
Yeah. Now they're gonna like check every person, like, are you a guest here? Like, I would hope not.
Segue challenge. Throw it down.
Oh, I don't like this is not even a segue. I when they're closed for cleaning and they just have like the wet floor sign out front and you can't get in, and it's just like I still gotta go. Like you're gonna make me wait here? I don't know.
I'll be careful, I promise.
All right, let's flush this topic.
Oh, wait, hold on. So we talked so the urinals, right? You have a little divider there. Sometimes not, and you're just pissing there, and then some asshole, there's plenty of other urinals, and they go use the one right next to you, and you're like, why? Like, do you want something? Are you trying to kill me? Like, what is it? It's so annoying. I hate that so much.
My wife had a story like that.
What?
She was at a stadium, and like after the game, there's like in a basketball arena, there's a I don't know how many stalls are in the women's bathroom, but there's probably like 8 or 10 stalls. She was the only person in there. And then another person comes in and she sits in the stall right next to her. She's like, what the hell?
She waggle her foot under the stall wall or anything?
That's what I was wondering. I was like asking if she could spare a square.
I've also found like especially like if I'm at a bar and I've had a beer or two and I go to the bathroom like to pee, that like I'll just be, going in the urinal and then like hear like I'll be the only one in there, and then I'll hear like someone coming in and I just like kind of like take notice of things like, oh, I'm like standing way too far away from this urinal. Like there's like a 6-inch gap in between me and here. Like I should be like way closer to this thing. What am I doing? Which obviously I wouldn't do if there were other people in there from the beginning.
I noticed once I was on vacation in Yellowstone National Park and I was in like the Old Faithful Lodge, just like this super like 100-year-old building. And I really had to go pee. And I go in there and I'm going pee. And then like one person like stumbles in there and they're taking a leak. And they're just like, oh, sighing. And then another guy comes in and does the same thing. And it dawns on me, I'm totally sober. I'm like, both these guys are really drunk. I'm just like, they serve alcohol in this place? I'm like, I didn't realize that. And then I like come out and I'm like investigating. I'm like, oh, there's a bar over there. And I didn't realize I was in like a bar bathroom. I just thought it was the public restroom.
They throw their arm up on the wall above it, and they're just like leaning forward.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's get even weirder. There are some people, okay, like remember back in school, in grade school, there would be the one kid that puts his pants all the way down to his ankles. And then there's guys who just stand there, arms at their sides while they're pissing. They don't even like grab it or whatever. Like they're just pissing like that. Some people hold it. Yeah, it's interesting if you're paying attention to that.
Which we know you are.
Yes. Oh my god. Segue challenge?
Oh, I've got this great one. Let's flush this topic.
Oh.
I like where your mind's at.
All right.
All right.
I love how clumsy pandas are. I don't know, like I never even really knew it was a thing, but like my wife is on like Instagram and stuff quite a bit, and every once in a while I look over and there's just like pandas just like struggling to like do anything like in a very comical way. And like I think they're like natural climbers, but somehow bad at it, which like you don't think of in nature. It's like you think of like if an animal needs to climb, it's going to be good at it. You know, like squirrels climbing up, like running around on the side of trees like it's nothing, and like just like if you think the things animals need to do survive, they need to do to survive, they're going to be proficient at. But like pandas, you'll see them like just walking around and they like trip and roll up into a ball and fall over, or like just like you always see pictures of them just like hanging with like their limbs on other side of a branch of a tree because they like fell and are like caught on a tree branch on their way down. It's just insane and hilarious.
Yeah, okay, well, come on. Pandas being weird at survival, aren't they fucking they only eat bamboo? Isn't that a thing?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, they are silly creatures. I was watching some video of it, and they seem more goofy in nature. You know what I mean? Or you know what I'm saying? Like there was a bunch
Yeah.
of people in zoos, and I think they liked the laughs, so maybe they hammed it up a little bit. But there are some creatures that are like that, and yeah, so bizarre because you never see squirrels just randomly falling or any other, you know, like a fierce cheetah or something just fall. They could take a fucking hit. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy.
Hmm.
They're so puffy and like just the way that they always kind of curl up in a ball and they're just clunk clunk clunk, you know?
Yeah.
It's so odd. These are very odd creatures. Silly.
Yeah, you're right. They definitely have like personality. Like, and it's a very goofy, silly personality. Because they'll be like a downed tree, and like one will be sitting on it, and then the other one will like come up behind and he'll like pull on him and make him fall onto his back. And then they just like I don't it's like the entire earth is like a trampoline or something, and they're just totally fine, just like falling on top of it. You're like, oh, okay, we're fine. I don't know. They're such weird creatures. I remember, Vince, do you remember when we went to San Diego? We went
Yeah.
to the San Diego Zoo. Um and there was pandas there, and I missed the pandas. And I was like, I can't believe there wasn't pandas. And then our friend Beth was like, "Oh, you didn't see it? There was a sign right over there. Yeah, they're back that way." And then we're like, "Yeah, we're gonna go." And I'm like, "We're missing the pandas? Like, what the fuck? Like, you people are insane." I'm still pissed off I missed the pandas.
Oh, that's how it
Yeah.
ends? What a sad story.
Yeah. I still hold
Oh
a
man.
deep resentment.
Well, okay, again with the survival thing, isn't that like a thing where they're like sometimes the pandas just won't mate with each other?
Yeah, like especially in captivity.
Yeah. Like
So it's like
pandas
a
are just
huge
weird.
deal when there's like a new baby panda because they just don't want to mate with each other
Wa-
and yeah.
Was that the video of the baby panda sneezing and the mom's like, well, what the fuck? Wasn't
Yeah.
that a thing? Was that the pandas? Oh,
Hmm.
great. That's awesome. Yeah, man. They're just so bizarre. Like I'm interested in them because there's never a boring panda. The fucking Kung Fu Panda. That was a hit. And then there was like the Great Panda Escape or something. It was a movie when I was a kid. I never got to watch it, but I was like, oh, cool. There's not a lot of panda movies. Just pandering movies.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's the sad panda as like just a shorthand visual for like you're killing the environment.
Isn't that? I thought that was South Park, like the sexual harassment panda. Remember that?
I don't remember that.
He's like, oh,
No.
when you tell a woman she's looking good and you can you like the little piece of bra that you could see from the shirt, that's sexual harassment, and that makes me a sad panda. Holy shit. Yeah. Pandas, get into it. All right.
Check them
Yeah,
out.
I swear to God though, like the whole they are they're like clumsy where almost like the dodo. The dodo wasn't very bright and they eventually went extinct. If bamboo goes away, they are fucked. Like it sounds like a joke. Like I really didn't look it up officially, but it's like that's what you hear all the time. That's the only thing they eat. Crazy.
All right, I gotta look this up now.
Oh my
Oh, and
gosh.
the WWF where
Yeah, brother.
uh yep, almost consistently have the leaves, stems, and shoots of various bamboo species.
Wow. I have one more question. Dave, who was the girl that didn't like me? It's gonna drive me nuts.
I'll tell you later,
Hold
Vince.
on. Can I guess though? Did she have blonde hair?
Kinda.
Did you meet her in like tech's class or something like that?
No.
No, it wasn't her.
No, she liked you. Yeah, she liked you. It
Okay. Well, shit, the
wasn't
mystery
her.
deepens. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she thought you were fine.
Oh God. All right. Segue challenge.
Let's roll up and tumble into our next topic.
Yeah. All right, man. I believe it's mine, and this is my indifference. I'm indifferent to binging TV shows. So I this just happened. I watched Only Murders in the Building, which I highly recommend. But yeah, I started watching it at like work, and I went in like episode 5 because that's how I like to experience shows. I kind of go in a little bit just to see because by that time they kind of got it figured out or whatever. Love the episode, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch the first one, and then I was gonna stop at 5, but I didn't. That's how binging works. It's just like go, 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 and you're wrapped up in the world. I ended up finishing all 3 seasons within 2 days, I think. And once it was finished, it was a very big come down where you're like, oh, well, now what do I do? And then I'm thinking like, did I savor every moment? Because there were some great moments, but then it's like, boom, moving on. And so you just feel like you just like binged on food, but it was like you're just like, what's wrong with me? And you just have more weight and you're crying and shit. So I don't know. I've done this with other shows like Game of Thrones, Community, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel, and 24. 24 is the best. That's the only way to experience 24 is to binge it. And it's yeah, it's not for the lighthearted, I'll tell you that. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, that's I feel very indifferent because it's like, yeah, I don't mind it when you experience a show with the world where like everyone after the episode airs, that's the water cooler stuff, there's the memes and all that stuff. That is very enjoyable, but binging, like, you don't have that. You might remember some things. You're like, oh shit, that's where that line comes from. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys feel about binging TV shows?
Oh, right, right. That's definitely how I tend to go about it. Like, I don't know, like I know like some people feel strongly like, oh, you should really like savor a show or whatever, but I'm like, there's only, like so many hours of this show that exist, and like I'm either watching them or I'm not watching them. Like if I like say like I'm gonna watch this episode and wait a week for the next episode, I'm not watching the show that entire week, you know what I mean? Like how am I savoring it? I'm just not experiencing it. Like I don't get it. I'm totally fine with binging things. Or like if there's like a a book series, like I'll just want to read through the entire thing, like the entire series, just keep flying through them. And I definitely know what you mean about like just feeling empty after you're done with it because you just like lived in that world for so long. But I don't see how just adding gaps in between experiencing it would help that at all. Like it's going to end that way anyway. Or like conversely, like, oh, there's one season left. I'm going to watch it really slowly. Like, I don't, I don't see how that helps, I guess.
Oh, I forgot to say, I was binging The Kids in the Hall, and there's like 6 seasons, I think. And I binged the first four and I stopped because I'm like, oh my God, I need to, enjoy this. That was almost a year ago now. I haven't, because I'm like, no, I'm gonna wait, and I'm gonna start watching those. But yeah, I've really put it off because just need more new kids. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I've done that with shows too, where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna slow down a little bit. Like I was watching The Wire, and I binged the first 2 seasons, and then I'm in the third season, and then I just like took a pause, and that was 4 years ago. Like, and I haven't watched the rest of it. And I'm like, why did I pause? Like, it was good. There was no reason to stop watching. Like, and then I just never got back to it. Um, like don't I haven't binge watched a show in forever. I feel like, but like it's definitely the best way to go. I feel like with the show 24, I bought those on DVD. And then I watched like the first 4 seasons on DVD, just binge watching them, and I loved it. And then when the fifth season came out and I was watching it on TV, just watching 1 hour, it was brutal. I was like, I can't do this. Like, I need my next episode. And the same with like the TV show Lost. I love that show. Um, but I never binge watched it. I always watched it when it was on TV, and that was like part of what made it good was like the waiting and anticipation and like the mystery and not being able to get the answers. Um, but if you
And
binge
then you
watch it,
watch the end of the show and you still don't have the answers.
well,
Damn it, you beat me
exactly,
to
because
it.
if you binge watch it, then you realize a lot quicker that you don't get the answers that you want, and then you're super pissed about it. But like if you really watch it slowly, you're so invested and it like becomes part of your identity and you're like, no man, it's good. Trust me, you just didn't understand it. All right. If you watched it again, you'd understand it. But like I remember Dexter. I loved binge watching Dexter. That was really good. Breaking Bad, that was amazing. I love to binge watch Breaking Bad. Um, there's a million good shows that are awesome just to binge.
But yeah, like with both of your stories, I've had a similar thing where like I learn about a show like, halfway through or 2/3 through when its run is. I binge watch everything up to that current point and get caught up, and then just forget it exists and never watch like the final seasons because like they made me wait for them and I forgot they existed.
Yeah, shit. Any ever run into try and binge something and it's terrible, or do you like, oh, I have to finish this book no matter what sort of thing?
No, I jump ship real quick.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, if I'm not into it after 2 episodes, like, I'm out.
Yeah, I never like specifically say like, well, I'm done with this, but there's definitely stuff I just like kind of trailed off because I just didn't have the motivation to keep going.
Oh
You
man,
guys ever watch Manifest?
Nope.
no.
Okay, it was on Netflix, but it's about like a plane that takes off and then it just disappears and nobody knows what happened to this plane. And then 6 years or something in the future, the plane just arrives at its destination and lands, and everybody, like the entire world has moved on 6 years, but everyone who was a passenger on the flight, um, they didn't notice anything went wrong other than some turbulence and the lights went out or something for a fraction of a second. So then they land, and then their family members, they all thought they were dead and missing, and they've married other people and like moved on in their life. And like some people have been searching for that plane for 6 years. And it's like the premise was so good. And I'm like watching like the first 3 or 4 episodes, and I really loved it. It was so good. But then it was like the writers ran out of their idea, and then they're just kind of like trying to come up with stuff, and they didn't have like a clear direction or plan. And I was just like, oh, they somebody faked a plane crash and they pretended that that was the plane. And I'm like, they did that on Lost. Like they just stole that storyline from a different show. And then like so I quit watching it, but my wife kept watching it. So then I would watch like bits and pieces as it goes into like the end of that season and season two. But I could never get into it. I had checked out.
Oh, dang it. That reminds me, I was like, Dave, you gotta watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And you watched season one, you liked it. Season two, you liked it. And then I gave you season three, and like, I don't know, the third episode when Angel comes back, you're like, hold on, this is bullshit. He died. I'm like, I know, but it gets better. And you're like, no. And you just stop watching the show. So
Oh,
awesome though. You're
I
doing yourself a
barely
disservice.
I liked that show, but it did, I don't know, it seemed like it was getting a little formulaic, but at the same time, I felt like it was breaking out of that. And it was not becoming formulaic anymore, but it was like more continuity between episodes. It's like a long storyline. So it was actually getting better, but I did stop watching it, but like for no reason. Like I should have still kept watching it because it was really getting good.
Someday, finish it up. Yeah. Anything else? Are we done? This
I
fucking
hope our
topic.
listeners are binging our episodes.
Ooh, yeah. And in order to do that, you got to go to a few Goldilock com. If you're on YouTube, like, subscribe, comment. This was Vincent Cloud.
With John Nemitz.
And David Lauer.